If you see Michael Jordan and you see Shaq and you see all the great men in sports come together, they can boycott the NBA and they can boycott the NFL and make a big change. But they get paid because the owner owns them. They don't own it themselves.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Journey of Freedom podcast, and I am Brian Arnold, Dr. B, your host. Hey, we have been doing some amazing stuff in 2024. Sorry, as I'm recording this, we're at the end of 2024. We're at, I think, December 27th, I believe we are, or 6th, or yeah
27th.
27. So Christmas was a couple days ago. The goal this year was I was going to do 100 Black men. That's who we were going to focus on this year, and we did. We recorded 100 Black men this year on our podcast, and so Rodney, it's exciting. I have a fellow Denverite. He went to a rival high school that's here in town, but has been doing some amazing stuff with other people in life, and so he has this ability or this willingness to serve. Which is just amazing. And so, Rod, just go ahead and I'm going to have you tell your story and tell us who you are. You can, like I tell my guests, you can start at birth or you can start somewhere in the middle and kind of tell us who you are. You can take 5 minutes, you can take 30 minutes. It's up to you on how long you want to tell your story. So I can't wait to hear it. Thank you for being on the podcast today. And let's hear you.
Okay, my name is Rodney Long. Everybody call me Hot Rod. From Denver, Colorado, went to Manual High School. And on my life, I got into work. When I got out of college, I went to Frontier Airlines and was doing my career at the airlines with the mechanic with Frontier Airlines. And then I was a ramp agent as well and a commissary as well. Probably one of the best jobs I ever had. At that time, you could fly wherever you wanted to for $2.50 each way, $5 round trip. It was like a family of Frontier Airlines until back in 1986, they filed bankruptcy. But before they filed bankruptcy, they made us think that we was going to go ahead and buy into the airline. So they took $3 an hour out of our check, telling us that we're going to buy into Frontier Airlines. So we would buy our stocks with Frontier Airlines. Well, after 3 years after they told us that, next thing we know, at that time, we had people that was out of state and all. And when I went to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, my key didn't work. And that's when we started finding out that Frontier Airlines filed for bankruptcy. So after putting all that time into Frontier Airlines, we lost everything that we worked hard for. Didn't tell us nothing, didn't give us no warning or one thing during that time. So that's what made me become self-employed. I said, I'm not going to ever let no one dictate my life. If I don't make it, it's going to be my fault, no one else's fault. So that's when I got into real estate and got into the car business. So I own my own car dealership, 42 years now, and I've been in the real estate for 40 years. So I learned a lot in that type of business. But one thing that I known as a Black man, it just was not equal. I had 27 properties at that time, but I never could get a loan, not by signature. I can use my real estate to get a loan, but I couldn't use my signature to get a loan. So that was very hurtful how they judged us as a Black versus someone of color, that we could not, it wasn't equal for what we could do in that industry. And it's that way right today. Different banks now, once they go by your credit, but they want to know what you have. So when I had all the real estate, they used the real estate to go against me and said if something would happen, they would take 70% of the profit that I had and 30% saying that that's how much I would lose.
Oh my God.
So I learned,
I said, man, that's crazy.
it don't make no sense. And
No.
everything is just judged differently as us as minority. But the biggest problem that I see is that you have to have a team. No type of what business that you get into, one is a lonely number, and you have to have a team. And the team is someone that you have to trust. It can't be no jealousy, no envy. And that's what I see this happens to us in the black race. My father always used to say we would be like crawdads. Every time one person will try to get out, another person will pull you back in, and none of you will ever make it because always somebody getting ready to get to the top, another crawdad will pull you back down. And I'm 70 years old right now, and I don't see no change at all as far as being in business for myself. We don't support each other. And when we do try to support each other, we don't never want to give what we ask for. They always want to barter you all the way down where you really make nothing. But then we'll go to the opposite race and give them whatever they want. And so, being in business for 42 years and 40 years in the real estate, I just see we have a problem with that. And that's what's going on right now in the hip hop. If you notice, they put us all together, and all we do is bad lash each other, take each other down, and everything that we really accomplish, the white man will come and take it away from us. You can look at Bill Cosby, you can look at Tiger Woods, you can look at Michael Jordan, you can look at anybody that had money, and what happens to it when it's all said and done. They end up coming taking everything that we worked hard for. So one way that I know that we can get out of that, we have to come together as one. I went to the Million Man March, and that's probably one of the most powerful experience that I ever had in life, besides getting saved. And it showed me how powerful we are if we ever come together. If we ever come together, we are so powerful that they won't. The white man don't want us to know how powerful that we are. And I don't know what it's going to take for us to open our eyes to see how powerful we are if we put ourselves together. I don't know what it's going to take. But I had a really bad experience in 1982. I lost my life on freebasing. And I had a real good friend, best friend, named Michael Ray Richardson. And Michael Ray played for the New York Knicks. He was first round, number 4 player to go. Outstanding, one of the best athletes out there. And he was the first player that ever got kicked out the NBA for drugs. He was the first player that came back on drugs. He was the first player that won the MVP for steals and assists. And he was one powerful person, but drugs destroyed all of us. And during that time, all the greats that you heard about, majority of them was on drugs. And Michael Ray Richardson would never ever snitch. He kept that to himself, and he took the beating himself and the punishment himself. He never was a person that would point the finger at the other person. He pointed the finger at himself. But during that experience, when I lost my life, when I said I lost my life, that's when I was freebasing and I hit the ground, and my body was something. But when you hear about a out of body experience, I went through that, and it turned my life around. And that was in 1982. And it was like fell out the airplane, and I was falling and falling. And every time the wind would blow, I would see a demon, and the weirdest things in my entire life. And I heard nothing but crying and hollering and screaming. Let me know that while we're alive right now, we can repent. Right now, we can know who the higher power is. But once that is over with, for you to be saved, there's only could be one person, and that has to be Jesus Christ asking his Father to spare your life. And that's what happened to me. I was able to experience death. And that was in 1982. And from that year of 1982, that's when I gave my life to the Lord. And I said I would never smoke, I would never sell, I would not ever hang around no one who does sell or smoke, because that drug is probably one of the most powerful drugs that I ever messed with in my entire life. And so that was a drug that took only God could clear my mouth, clear my feelings, and it took him to take that taste out of my mouth. So as of 70 years old, that happened in 1982, and as of today, I'm right with that. I had to make a testimony to the Lord saying, whatever you do, Lord, if you give me another chance in life, if I free base, if I sell, if I mess around, if I hang around, Lord, give me the biggest massive heart attack a human being can take. Because I was blessed to come from that, and the Lord gave me another chance in life. But I'm here for a reason. I have not figured that out yet. But he didn't just spare my life to just spare my life. He spared my life to let other people know how powerful that drug is and how powerful Satan is if you don't know him. So right now, it's I'm out to get together a team. One thing I learned in my life, one's a lonely number. And if you don't have a strong team and a trusted team that can come together, then you ain't going to get off at first base. It takes a powerful team. When you see Bill Gates and when you see Buffett, they have a team. They don't do it by themselves. And that's what's going on in the black industry right now. They get us and they can divide us. And once they divide you, they can conquer you. And so that's something that I learned, that I try my best to stay in prayer, that I can be a better person, that I don't be jealous or envy. And if I can't give you a hand up, I don't want to give you a hand down. So I just appreciate being on this podcast now and hoping that we can turn closer to the Lord now, because the last days and times is on its way. It's here. And when you see the world shifting, it's shifting for a reason, because we do not give him knowledge. He's the last person that we ask for. We only ask about him when we're going through struggles. But when we wake up every morning, it's just taking that time to say, Lord, thank you for another day. Lord, give me the strength to make it another day. And I learned that you have to be having a forgiving heart. You have to ask for forgiveness on anyone that you know you hurt in any kind of way. So that's what keeps me going right now, is my faith is number one in my life. And I try to treat people the same way that I want them to treat me. So that's my testimony.
Sorry about that. My mic wasn't working. Did you grow up here
Okay.
in Denver?
Yes, I've been in Denver all my life.
Oh, you like never lived anywhere else then, huh?
Never lived nowhere else.
Gotcha. So, what do you think shaped your identity, like the person that you became? That after Frontier Airlines and all the mess that went on there. When we think about identity and people being stuck and not being able to move forward, a lot of the times it comes from who we are, who we hung around, or the neighborhood we grew up in. How was your identity shaped?
I think it was because my mother and father was together uh, all their lives until the one of them home. And they was married over 69 years. And being from a father and a mother, I think that's what hurt us as far as the uh, black divided, you conquer. And
Mhm.
so a lot of people who you see is strung out on drugs, and they don't have identity with a strict father. I thought my father was the meanest person in the world. And after I got up in age, I understood everything that he tried to tell me. He always say, if you don't work, you don't eat. He
Mm.
said, God bless the child that has his own. So he taught me how to be up every morning at 4 o'clock and go out, not have my hands out, go out and get it myself. So I think a lot of things is happening in the black family when you see like security, and when you see housing, they always take the man out. The
Mm.
man can't be present in that home. So what that does right then and there, it divides our family. So when you take the man out the family, now the woman is the man and she's the woman. But it's almost impossible for a woman to raise a male. They do a very, very good job, but it's not like a father. And so I think them dividing us that way, and it came all the way from slavery. They took the strong black woman from the black man and they inbred the slave for the black woman. And it just destroyed our whole entire life. 400 years we've been going through this. And we just not had enough common sense to know how powerful we are as a black race. If you see Michael Jordan and you see Shaq and you see all the great men in sports come together, they can boycott the NBA and make a big change. They can boycott the NFL and make a big change. So they get paid, but they get paid because the owner owns them. They don't own it themselves. And so they're always controlled by higher power. So when you see the Jew race sticks together. They don't go against each other. So when you see the courts and you see the lawyers, you always see who controls everything. So in my court battles, when I go into court, it's a loss right then and there because me as a black man don't supposed to have the real estate and don't supposed to have the money. It's like if I'm not selling drugs doing it the wrong way and I do it the right way, they want to turn it into the wrong way. So in my life, I learned how to not own nothing in my name, to put everything in the LLC and the LLC in a trust. Because once they know your name and they do a name search, they know everything that you own. And that's what they're going at. That's why they're doing P. Diddy, what they're doing to him, Jay-Z, and you're going to see all these other famous movie stars that make money, and you'll see them in indictment because what they're doing, they're tearing down the black race. And we're too stupid to see what they're doing to us. You don't see no whites getting indicted. You don't see none of that. You hear them talk about it, but you don't see none of their names. Why? Because they're always protected. So when you really see what's going on in life, you just say, wow, we're our own enemies because we don't come together as one. We're powerful, but they don't want us to know how powerful we really are.
So why do you think we don't come together?
I think we got that Willie Lynch syndrome all the way back for 400 years. I feel that we are jealous, we're envy, and instead of us, like, look what Travis is going through right now. One of the greatest athletes you ever seen. Look at prime time, what he went through. How many black haters was out there didn't want to see him make it. He did all that with all that for the team, the black team. They broke in his locker room, stole his jewelry 3 or 4 times. When he got the offer to go to CU, an all-white college, they gambled for him. And now look at him, Denver, Colorado. You go up to Boulder, everybody know about prime time in Boulder. He turned the whole organization around. So when you see it, you see the white folks pulling for him more than the black folks, and he's a man of color. We're so busy hating on him, we don't give him no kind of love. So when you look at the crowd or you look at the CU Buffs, you see the whole stadium hollering and screaming for a black man who all they want is a win, and we don't understand that.
So I want to ask you about resilience because despite some of the things that you've said, despite some of the things that you've been talking about, you've been able to be very successful. So you've been able, in spite of all the systems that haven't been designed to help us move forward, you found a way to own several properties and to, and to have your own car dealership and to be an entrepreneur. What gave you the drive to do it? And give us some highlights on what some of us could do to be able to achieve some of the same things.
The first of all, what you have to do is put God first in your life.
Okay.
From the time that I lost my life and I got another chance, it came from the strength of my mother and father. Mine came from my parents giving me that ability, and my strict father that I thought was the meanest person in the world, giving me that information to get up. You're a man. If what I see in my car industry, I see black men don't have driver's license. because they got into a little stuff and they get 3 times as much time as a white man going to get. I know so many friends of mine is in prison for something they didn't even do, because that's another way of slave mentality, because they work for prison free. And when I say free, don't even make $100 a month. So when you see that there, that's what's going on. They took the 400 years and now they did it a different way. Like the Ku Klux Klan, they told you they won't be in their mass no more. They're going to be on the fire department, the police department. They're going to be the judges, and they're going to be the attorneys. So they just change it in a whole complete different way. And we don't have enough common sense to see it. How many black attorneys out there will really fight for you and put their neck on the line? They really can't, because they'll get disbarred. They don't have a group of black men to stick together and fight for them. And when you don't have that, you're a lonely number out there, and they will get you. So when you see in court, my court battles on things they took from me, I did not have one black attorney that had enough balls to have enough faith to say, you know what, you're wrong. I'm not going to let them do that to you. What do I have to do? Find a white man to introduce, to represent me, take my money, because I'm still a black man. Like Don King said, if you're rich and you're a nigga, you're a rich nigga. If you're poor and you're a nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're educated and you're a nigga, you're an educated nigga. In his eyes, a white man's eyes, was still a nigga. And that been 400 years and nothing changed. Every time we get someone of color there that we think is going to help us out, they get sold out. Like our mayor in Denver, Hancock, he got sold out. What did he do for blacks? Zero. So every time they're in a position to do something for us, they get bought out. And that's what's going on in our world right now. We're easy to get bought out. Money can change us, and we get bought out for free. It don't take a lot of money to buy us out. We'll take a handful to sell each other out. So until we learn that there, it's a fight.
Gotcha. And I guess when I think of your willingness to fight, you talked about your faith, and you talked about believing and trusting in God. What other things were you able to do to make it? I mean, because I see it. I see one of the I see black men who try it and fail, and then I see black men who try it and succeed, even within the systems. And with your faith, what other kinds of things were you able to?
You can't give up. I'm up every morning,
Okay, okay,
every single morning, every morning at 4 o'clock. I
okay.
start my day. I get more things done from 4 to 8 than I do all day, because that's the time I can have peace. I can have time to get my thoughts together.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, from the time that my father, at the early age of 14, 15 years old, my father made us cut the lawn, made us do this, made us do that. And it just hit my spirit, and I could hear his voice right today that, one is a lonely number. So I get up, and anybody that want to come and help, my arms is open. But if they don't come, I just get out there and put the grind myself. I'm 70 years old, and I can put circles around somebody 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, because I got that motivation that I don't never give up.
So
So
don't
as
give up.
long as the Lord bless my health, I'm going to keep on moving.
Are you still getting up at 4 in the morning and
4
7
o'clock in the morning, every morning.
every morning? Can you work hard enough to be successful, or is it more than you have to know people too? What is the formula there? Because I see people working hard, and I know you've been working hard, but is that enough?
Well, let me tell you what it is. We got everything going against us. Okay, for instance, you have a billionaire that was out there, and because he didn't go along with the system, look what they did. They took half his money. You talk about Robert Smith. When Robert Smith, he makes $12.5 billion. When he helped the black college, what happened? They got him for they got him for tax evasion. So he had to pay over $30 million back. So all the other people that's out there, that's not of our color, Donald Trump said he will never, ever, ever pay taxes.
Mhm.
All the stuff that they put on him, they didn't touch him, and they're not going to touch him. Why? He's in that type of environment that he have billionaires that will fight for him. We don't have that. So we get lost in the shuffle. With P. Diddy, no matter how bad he is, what he did, he has no one of color. All his attorneys is what color? He don't have no one of color there by his side to help fight. No matter how guilty he is, until he's proven guilty in the public's eyes and the internet's eyes, he's guilty. So when you see somebody of color, instead of not putting the bad things out on him, kind of lift up, kind of quit being so hard on
Mhm.
someone who's going through the struggle. Because we all make mistakes. I made a mistake. It was only the grace of God while I'm here today. I supposed to have been dead in 1982. So I try my best not to judge. I try my best not to point the finger. And I pray for my enemies. I pray for anyone. I ask for forgiveness every single day because I don't know if I say something wrong or I did something to hurt somebody. So I stay on my knees and I always ask for forgiveness. And that gets me by. Right today, it's a struggle. You know, what we're going through in this world right today, it's a struggle. We see more black men that's gay now. We are black women, if they're not hooking, they want money, they want to do it. This the love of money. They'll sold their soul, they will sell their soul for the love of money. So when you look at what we're going through, money just completely destroys relationships. Because if you don't put it together and have it in the family and be truthful, I learned not to cheat. I learned to be very true to my wife. But in my college days, I like a little doorknob. Everybody got a turn. So I had to go through that experience to see what I did. I had to have respect on the people that I hurt. So
So,
I learned a whole lot coming through college and where I'm at today.
gotcha. Well, how have you been able to keep a relationship with your wife and make it work and where others fail all the time? What's the special secret sauce?
I don't put my life in temptation. I am a man and I have flesh. That's just like my drug addiction. When I was strung out on cocaine and the Lord delivered me and took the taste out my mouth, you don't see me take what he did for me and go in and be around somebody that's getting high and somebody's doing this. I know I will fail. Even though he delivered me, I can't put myself in that same position. I can't go out to the strip club and watch the women dance and all that because I still have flesh. And I know I will fail because this is Satan's domain. This ain't God's. His domain is everlasting. So when you know that, you know you will fail. All the ins and outs, you will fail. So I don't go to strip clubs. I stay away from temptation. When I get off work, I bring my ass home because I know it's beautiful women out here and you could talk all the shit you want, but we're very weak when it come down to women. And I know that.
Gotcha. So is there something else as far? I mean, so you take yourself out of temptation. Are there extra things you did that you think other men don't do for their
Well,
wives to make sure that they're cared for, they're protected, they're loved, they can flourish
well,
in their own way?
well, my father always taught me that you got to be the man of your household.
Hmm.
So when I say the man of my household, my wife will not let me see me in bed laying down and she's at work, or she comes home and I'm in bed. No matter what, my butt has to bring money to the household. Her job is to keep the house in place, to make sure the bills is paid. I have to bring the money there for her to pay the bills. So I'm from old school because that's the way my father and mother was. So that there came on to me of the hard work. So my wife could never say that she pays a bill or she does this or she does that, because no matter how low I am financial, I make sure I get up and do what I can do. And I just don't give up.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
What does it mean to be a dad and be responsible as a dad to you?
Well, it means a lot. But see, I got a divorce.
Okay.
And that's what my wife, that's how the white man used my wife and had her to give her. I had 27 properties at that time. And the courts gave her 5 of the properties that I had, where she never made paid the water bill, never paid the taxes, never paid the rent. So I did all this myself. So when the court system made me give her this, they knew she didn't know nothing about real estate. They know she wasn't even working at the time. So when they gave that to me, they wouldn't let me sell the property and give her the money. They made me sign the quitclaim deeds to give her the 5 properties. But the judge told me, Mr. Long, how were you able to accumulate so many properties? So when he seen a black man have these many properties, he'd understand, how in the hell did I get through this? I don't supposed to get through this without being a drug dealer, without being murdered or killing somebody for the love of money. So when he seen that, he hated that. So the way that he got me, he used my ex-wife to get to me. So what happened when they did that, they completely divided our family. Because at that time I had, each one of my sons had 5 properties. I had 15-year mortgages. So when they became 18 years old, they had 3 clear properties. And that was my way to give back to my kids. So before I was able to do that, the divorce happened and I got all the the foreclosures came on my credit. So I have 5 foreclosures that went on my credit. So the 5 foreclosures took my FICO score from an 810 down to a 467. So as a black man, only thing that keeps us alive is our credit. So when you don't have credit and you're a black man, boy, that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the things that I learned. I learned in the car business, you just get out of college, you're 18 years old, I sell you a car, or the bank gives you the car, they're going to start you off with between 18 and 21% interest. So as a black person, you're geared to fail from the jump, because usually you got to piggyback off your parents. Your parents co-sign for your car, so you got the good interest rate. Well, the parents' credit is destroyed. So how can they help their kids if they got destroyed credit? So, and it keeps going on and on and on and on. So we never get out of that rut.
Gotcha. Now you said financially that you had stuff set up that you wanted for your kids to be able to have their homes. What kind of other support did you give your kids as they were growing up?
I don't buy toys. I learned at a young age it ain't no Santa Claus. Your mother and father is a Santa Claus. They don't have a long beard and they ain't white and they ain't got a big old suit on. And how they taught us. They
Mm-hmm.
taught us where you sit in the white man's lap and you tell them what kind of present you want. They never gave us the idea that was our parents
Uh-huh.
who's buying you these toys. So we was geared to think that the white man, when you go to church, you see a white Jesus. Everything you open up is white. They
Mm-hmm.
never give us an education on how powerful we are as a black race. That's something that they don't show us. Now it's starting to come out on how powerful and all the things that we had and all the things we invented that they
Mm-hmm.
never gave us credit for.
So I'm gonna still jump back to your kids because there's some clue in here that I'm trying to address, because there's a lot of black men that I've talked to that said, because of the partner or the spouse or the and how mean they have been and not allowing them to see their kids and all these things, that they just said they gave up, it wasn't worth it with child support and everything else, and then they let the mom raise the kids. But I don't think you did that. So
Well,
talk to me.
well, well, wait, hold on. Let me tell you something.
All right.
When my kids, my son and I was real close, real close. Well, when we went through a divorce, the victor's she was gay, and that really turned me off because a gay woman trying to tell me how to raise my son,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife being so bitter, she would not let me see my son. So I was able to see him 3 days a week, and she get him for four. I might get him 2 days a week. She hides him from me. And when a young child comes up, mama poisoned his brain. Your
Mm-hmm.
daddy ain't this, your daddy ain't that. And that works. So with my relationship with my son right today, it ain't close how it should be, because his young life where he should bond with his father, I didn't have that. So to keep that pain from coming away, I would put hours in working if I would not have to think about what I'm going through and how the court system is. They never got her for contempt of court. If I did it, they would get me for contempt of court and put me in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a difference, right? Today, it's a difference. Everything that you're seeing going on in this big case with Puff Daddy and now Jay-Z, what are we doing? A woman can say this happens and you're going to lose. All she has to say that you did this and you took advantage of her, and you're going to lose,
Mm-hmm.
even if you didn't do it. So what
But
do you
should we
do?
keep fighting, even though it's stacked against us? Should we keep fighting?
You got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. I got 4 people in prison right now that didn't even do it. And if they give up, they'll be in there for the rest of their life. They have to fight and hope that God send a miracle their way, some way, form, or fashion. It's just like what Trump did and Obama did. Obama let probably 200 people out of prison that they don't even talk about. Trump did the same thing, let people out of prison that they don't talk about. I'm talking about black men that they don't talk about. So when you see somebody of color like our mayor, I don't see him in the hood. My mayor, Hancock, just lived, we went to Manual High School together.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't did nothing for Manual. He ain't came back in the neighborhood. Webb lived right down the street from me. I don't see Webb coming up, knocking on doors and asking us, hey, what can we do to make the neighborhood better? I don't see that. So you can't point no finger when you see a man of color that don't do it. So where's your hope come in? I've been owning Rod's cars for 40 years. I have never got no government money. Only money that I got is when we had COVID and they gave the grant money for businesses that wasn't able to open up. But I never was able to go sign my name and get a grant for free. And I've been a black man as a black car dealership in Denver, Colorado, and still alive after COVID and all, and still have my dealer's license. I went through a lot of hell. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hell that I went through was by my people. Going in front of the dealer board wasn't white people sending me to the dealer board. It was my own people that I helped that only had $1,000 down, $1,500 down. I did buy here, pay here. I see my car going down the street with a new stereo, new rims, but don't pay me my money. So what does that tell you?
So what's next for Rod Long? Well, you're 70 years old. You're still getting up at 4 in the morning. You're still making a difference. You're still heading to church. Still got a beautiful. What's next? What's the future look like?
My 2025, I will be a millionaire again.
Okay.
I know I cannot do it laying in bed. I cannot do it talking. I had to get my old ass out there and make a difference. And my goal is to get together a team. And what's sad, I work better with women than I do with men because black men get so jealous and so envy of you. And a beautiful woman can come between 2 men and take your focus completely off. I didn't understand what Minister Farrakhan did when he had the Million Man March and women was not invited. I didn't understand that until I went to the Million Man March, and I seen maybe 100 women there, and it took the men's focus all the way off of what we was there for. So I understand what he's saying, how distracted we get by beautiful women. It done happened to all our great men, from Adam and Eve to Samson and Goliath. All your powerful men, what can take them down is a woman if you're not focused.
Gotcha. So, millionaire in 2025. Let's talk about health for a little bit, both physical and mental health. You're 70 years old and you're looking good. You're running circles around 17, 18 years old. What do you do? Because the average black man lives to 72. I think you're going to go way beyond that. What do you do?
Well,
What's our secret? Talk to me.
well, the main thing with me is knowing my body, is knowing my counts. And like, I'm a diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother was a diabetic. So, and I love sweets. I love sweets. And so I have to be obedient with my health. I gotta go in and I never knew what a colostomy was. My doctors never told me nothing about that. My sister had colon cancer,
Oh, wow.
and I learned about going to get colonics that we're not taught to get colonics. Where you go in there and they put the water through your body and clears you out in your intestines, your upper intestines, your lower intestines. I never knew about any of that until when my sister got colon cancer. So now, as a black man, they tell us we don't have to get checked until the age of 50. That's a lie. A black man should get tested at the age of 40. So it's a lot of things that they don't teach us or tell us. I'm one that asks about my numbers. When I go and get my blood test, I ask the doctor question, well, what does this mean? Explain these numbers to me.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of black men, while they do us in the hospitals, we don't know shit about ourselves. We know they give us numbers, but we don't know what the numbers mean.
So we got to educate ourselves.
Yes, so we have to educate. I'm in a fraternity, Omega Psi Phi.
Okay.
And I deal with a lot of my close friends as Kappas as well. So I'm one to say, hey,
You're wearing red.
huh?
You're wearing red.
Oh, yeah, that's on podcast.
Oh,
I took my purple off. So, but I learned that it ain't the fraternity. It's time for the fraternities and the sororities to come together. So when you hear about Crips and Bloods and all that there, that came from us, from dividing our colors. And with fraternities, Kappas, Sigmas, Omegas, we got to put the mindset back into our youth because they look out for us. So it takes us to make the difference. When they see that we can come together, it's going to show the young generation, hey, if they're doing it, we can do it. So a lot of things that goes on in this world, it comes from us. You know, my son could never say that I smoked a joint in front of him, that me and my son went to a club and had a drink. I'm the father. We're not the best of friends and we're not this. I'm the father. So I do a good example. I lost my life on cocaine, so I'm not going to be getting high with my son or smoking a joint with my son. I know how that can destroy his mind. So I can't tell him, don't be getting high, don't be drinking if I'm drinking. So I have to lead by the best that I can to my family. So my sons can never, ever say that they see me get high or ever say that I had a woman in the bedroom while they spent the night. They could never, ever say that. My ex-wife could never, ever say that I cheated on her. My wife today can never, ever say I cheated on her. So I try to live by example. I try to not put myself in that position that I know I can fail.
Do you exercise?
I'm going back to the gym.
Uh-oh.
I was in the gym three days a week until COVID came.
Okay.
So I got to get back in the gym, and that helps me, my mind. It helps my mind. It builds my strength in my legs. So that's something that I said 2025, I'm doing 3 days a week back into the gym.
All right. So millionaire, you're going to be back in the gym. Talk to me a little bit about mental health. How do you, with all these things that have been thrown at you throughout your life, how do you stay positive? Because I don't think a negative person can go make $1 million.
Well, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what nobody says, it's prayer.
Okay.
I put that number one. When I lost my life, no one could save me. My mother couldn't save me. My father couldn't save me. And when I went through that out of body experience and I was able to see my body laying down on that ground, it made me understand that there's a God. It made me understand when ain't nobody there, you better believe there's somebody there that you can pray to and you can listen to. So I pray probably 25, 30 times a day. I always pray. I be driving, I'm praying. I can be laying down, I'll pray. I listen. I love this one pastor. A lot of people can't stand him. Pastor Jennings,
Mm-hmm.
Geno Jennings, because he preached the Bible. People kind of short check and get away from that, and they don't like that because he tell you what the Bible says. So I listen to him a lot, and I had to confess on a lot of things that I've been doing wrong by just listening to the scriptures or going through the scriptures and reading it myself. So I spent a lot of time by listening to the gospel and listening to the spirit. I spent a lot of times instead of all that hip hop and all that, and I try to really stay into the word.
Cool. Give me like a 15-second sample of one of your prayers. I would love to hear that. I think everybody would love to hear that.
Well, my main prayer is Our Father. I was raised a Catholic
Okay.
in the Hail Mary. And so when I lost my life, all I can do is remember the prayers that I was taught going to
Mhm.
Catholic schools. And it was so powerful. I was, you're out of body experience. So we hear that Jesus has long black hair and he's black, and we hear all this stuff in the Bible. When I experienced that, you don't see no colors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the spirit that I went through. And I remember Our Father in heaven, all be thy name. I remember Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. And in my spirit mind, that's what I was saying. In my spirit, when I was talking to the Lord, I was speaking that in my self-conscious mind. So when you hear that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that the Lord is the Lord, that is true. That spirit was so powerful, you would just shake in your leaves. I don't care who you are. Just that spirit that hits you, you will shake in your leaves. So I have fear right now from the time that I lost my life. I'm scared to death to go to the pit of hell.
All
But I'm
right.
trying my best to be a
All
better
right.
person.
Love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. So let's talk about money a little bit, because there's no way you become a millionaire. There's no way you were a millionaire if you don't understand money a little bit. If you were to talk to um, young black men, or even middle class black men, or even older black men about money, what would be your advice to them on making sure that they do right by their money instead of just not having a clue what it even is?
I would tell them this: don't own nothing in your name if you're a black man.
Okay.
Rodney Long don't own shit.
Okay.
Everything that I have is in a corporation, and my corporation is in a trust.
Okay.
The reason it's in a corporation in a trust, because when I went through my lawsuit, they pierced my corporate veil. I had 5 corporations.
Mm-hmm.
They came back 14 years later, and the you cannot do that. The statute of limitation was 3 years.
Okay.
So the court is not fair. So I learned that if you do my name and search my name, you ain't gonna see me own shit. Because that's how they go at you. They go after for what you own. So I learned to put my shit in LLCs like
Mm-hmm.
OJ Simpson. The reason they couldn't touch OJ Simpson money, OJ didn't own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And all his stuff was in a trust. And then his trust had an LLC that went into a trust and then went offshore. So them are the things that I learned from the white man because nobody else will teach us how to do your money and how to. I don't go around in real fancy cars. I like cars. I'm a car dealer, but I humble. I humble myself. I don't let a car make who I am. So I'm very humble where it come down to materialistic things.
So that Rolls I see you riding up down the street in, that's not yours?
Yeah, no, no, no.
He said,
Hey, and I learned, and I try to teach the ball players.
"Mhm,
You know, you'll see a brand new car, it's a 2025. I teach them, don't go out and buy that. The first 6 months, it's going to depreciate $5,000 to $10,000.
mhm,
You can buy that car, take it off the lot, trade it in the next month, and watch how much money you lose.
mhm,
If you're going to invest in real estate. Real estate is probably the best investment that you could ever do because real estate is like a roller coaster. It goes up 7 years and down 7 years, up 7 years and down 7 years. But no matter how bad the market get, people has to live.
mhm."
So if you don't make it that way, you're going to make it on your rent. So real estate is the one that really made my money. Car business, they depreciate. So you'll make your money by buy here, pay here, and you control the money. I took $100,000. I got a loan on my $100,000 at the bank, and my loan was only 5%. That's before this market got bad.
Mhm.
But when I did buy here, pay here, I would do a thing if they got bad credit. I did things that nobody would do. I start you off at 21%. Every 3 months that you made your payment on time, I dropped it 3%.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I give them a incentive to say, as long as you pay me on time, you look out for me, I'll look out for you.
Mhm,
And then I would put a cap on it for 8%. So once they do 8% and don't make no payments, it's 8% during the rest of the loan. So
mhm.
I don't judge them because they only have a 430 FICO score. I don't make them put down 30%. And so that's the way that I would give back in my neighborhood.
That means you're financing all those cars. That means you had to buy them up front, right?
Yes, yes,
And then you're
yes.
financing them. But that, I mean, that's a great way to give back and give people. Are you do you help people with budgets when they're coming to you to help you with a car thing, or do you kind of look at everything and help them out with that too, or you just
Well, I
keep it
know
on
the
paper?
best thing is your credit. And so I had different credit repair companies that will kind of work with me. And my goal is to get them out of paying 21%.
Mhm,
What they don't realize, car dealers got a car in the retails for 15,000. They'll sell them the car for 20,000
mhm.
because they're desperate for a car. It's a newer car, but they don't know they're upside down $5,000. So when they get ready to trade that car in, they got to come to the bank and give them money because they're upside down $5,000.
Yeah.
And that's something no one teaches us. And it's legal. You can charge a person $10,000 over book, and it's illegal. Vegas is 30%. They charge you 30% in Vegas, up to 36% in Vegas. They don't have a cap. We have a 21% cap in Colorado.
Hmm. Oh, cool. Well, this has been a great conversation. What did I not talk about that you wanted to make sure that our audience hears about Rod Long?
I think the main thing that I would always say to anybody out there, put God first. No matter how bad someone is doing, instead of judging them, just put them in prayer and ask the Lord to turn them around. Uh, I look at what's going on now in our society. I look at how people got away from God and now they worship the Illuminati. And the Illuminati, you got all this money, and now they got to pay for that. So you ain't seen nothing yet. You give it another 2 years, and you're going to see what's going to happen in our world. This is just the start of what we're getting ready to go through. I'm talking about pastors in our churches. I'm telling you, this world is getting ready to shake. And we
How we
better
gonna
be
make it
ready.
through? How we gonna make it through?
Boy, you got to find him. You got to stay in prayer. Your whole family got to stay in prayer. You got to teach your kids how to pray. It ain't going to church, because a lot of these churches ain't worth a dime. A lot of these churches are about tithe and offerings, and they're buying their own houses. They're not giving back to the
Mhm.
people who's scuffling and who's doing bad. They're not giving back. And they don't preach the word of God. They don't preach the real word of God. They don't preach the Bible.
Mhm.
And so until we do that, we're a lost cause.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being part of the Journey Freedom podcast. For those of you who are watching and saying, "Hey, this one hit me. I learned something from it." Go ahead and hit subscribe. Notification. Let people know that this is out there. We're going to continue to do even more shows. Ron, I just thank you for willing to spend your time. You're out on vacation on another state, and you're calling in, willing to talk to our young folks about what it takes to be successful. And so I wish you well. I believe you're going to make another $1 million in 2025.
Well, I'm going to do it.
Because
There's
success
no
is
advantage.
done it before, right? You can do it again.
That's it. And
You can do
whatever
it.
you speak, always remember,
Mhm.
whatever comes out that mouth, you can't put it back in. So if you speak positive, positive will come out. You speak negative, negative's going to come out. So whatever you speak, and if you put it behind that speak and action, you cannot lose.
Man.
And I just want to say for the people out there who's listening, keep Travis in your prayers. He's one of the greatest young football players. He's a very young man. And they took his fiance, who he loves very, very much. And his mind and his spirit, I can see it, his spirit is broken because of how people can go on that social media and destroy people. So kind of lift him up in prayer, that this man really show a way, because he's a very powerful individual.
Wow. I hear you. All right. Well, we'll continue to do that. Thank you again. You guys have a wonderful, awesome, just incredible day. Don't forget that you are God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. And we will see you on the next one. Talk to you
Thank you
soon.
very much, and may God bless you.